Beweeg. Op die refinery. Nou. Major Joan Fourais' voice cut through the comms like a blade through canvas. Raw Afrikaans urgency layered over the clipped precision of a man who'd spent 30 years slotting targets from Angola to Abel. The Harlow First Reaction Force didn't hesitate. They never did. The Mobiaster water refinery loomed before them, a rust-streaked labyrinth of distillation towers and pipe conduits choked with razor grass and crimson ferns. Somewhere in that industrial maze, Impisi Insurgents were crawling toward the main pump inlets, vials of toxin ready to turn the settlement's water supply into a mass grave. The UN called it a civil emergency. Fourais called it what it was. A siege. Warthogs, flank left. Control, secure that staircase base. Assault, with me. Agent Burton didn't answer. The Marksman handler never did. His boots hammered the metal grating of the eastern watchtower as he sprinted up the staircase, his guided munition sniper rifle already coming up to his shoulder. The weapon's SmartLink optics integrated seamlessly with his helmet display, trajectory correction algorithms cycling. He braced against the railing, scope sweeping the far side of the overgrown courtyard where waist-high vegetation created a wall of green death. Somewhere in that tangle, Impisi were moving. The Warthog's kennies vulling stiefdwyning swingers his Springboks spinace vorentoe gelons, kavat konseling skokkeling. They hit the ground running toward the primary pump inlet, underneath the high-maintenance gantry staircase, Val 32D already tracking for threats. The Warthog 2 peeled right, bounding around the elevated eastern walkway with mechanical precision, positioning to cut off any Impisi advance from the filtration tower side. Costa, Fourais snapped, secure the ground around that staircase. Sergeant Koster's control team beweeg as vloeibare geweld, but they stayed on the ground. Corporal Willems sprinted toward the eastern watchtower's base, slamming into cover against the concrete foundation beside the metal risers, Val 32C ready. Corporal Anika rolled behind supply crates at ground level, fingers dancing across her data spike interface before she'd even stopped moving. The spike pulsed, targeting protocols locking onto the Impisi covert handler's position behind the concrete wall. Ping. Got him, Anika hissed. He's pinned. Corporal Hendrik Henno Willems sprinted without waiting for confirmation. The grenadiers sprinted around the southern perimeter tower's base, boots crunching on gravel, taking cover behind a stack of industrial crates. His launcher tracked toward the wall where Impisi veterans were massing. The assault team's LMG gunner Janssen pounded after him, P-43 machine gun swinging into position. On your six, Henno. The beer hit the horizontal water main by the southern tower, sliding into cover with practiced economy. His rifle came up, scanning the courtyard entrance. Fourais himself moved forward, pressing behind a conduit in front of the eastern watchtower, weapon ready. Venter sprinted for the squat pump control station, boots ringing on metal. Across the refinery, the Impisi were moving. Tabor El Martillo Costa's voice rose above the rustle of razor grass. Pambili, Amandla! The insurgent team swarmed toward the concrete wall near the filtration tower, bodies low, flechette projectors clutched in scarred hands. They moved like ghosts through the vegetation, 4 fighters plus 2 reinforcements waiting in the tunnel network beneath the refinery's floor. Rico Scrappy Jones took point, Mandla and the others stacking behind him, using the wall and pipe conduits for cover. Induna Sipu's veteran team hugged the wall near the western elevated walkway, disciplined and silent. They wouldn't cross into the open courtyard, not yet, not until the moment was right. James Vasquez, the scrap king himself, lumbered behind the high-maintenance gantry in his patchwork exoskeleton, scavenged armor plates welded to an industrial frame, autocannon cradled in hydraulic arms. He stayed out of Burton's line of sight, patient, waiting. Agent Hernandez, the covert handler, sprinted behind the same concrete wall as the insurgents, lightweight exoframe humming. He'd wait for his moment to leap. The insurgents pushed forward. Scrappy moved around the wall's edge, slipping into the courtyard's waist-high vegetation. Razor grass sliced at his fatigues. He raised his flechette projector, sighting down the barrel at the beer behind the water mains near the southern tower. Flechette projector buzz, fall rifle sharp, precise cracks. Crack, crack, crack. The beer returned fire, val 32 sear rounds chewing into the concrete. Both men missed, rounds sparking off metal, thudding into earth. They ducked back into cover, breathing hard. Warthog 1 settled behind crates below the high gantry staircase, optical sensors locking onto the primary pump inlet. It readied his val 32D, scanning for movement. Secured, for now. Chaff launcher Sekenis were a high-pitched mechanical whine, building to pressurized release. The cloud engulfed the insurgent behind the pipe near the filtration tower, blinding him in a white-hot flash and thick silver smoke. The concussive crack of the submunitions ruptured the air, disorienting the fighter, even as the chaff wall cut off his line of sight. No optics to scramble, just a man suddenly deafened, half-blinded and choking in metal dust. The Springboks beweeg. It closed to CQB range through the smoke, val 32D cycling on full auto. The insurgent tried to return fire, flechette rounds wild and unaimed, but the AI's targeting was surgical. A 3-round burst stitched across the insurgent's chest, armor piercing, center mass. He folded. Reinforcement, Tabo shouted into his comm. From the circular drainage grate in the refinery floor, a fresh insurgent emerged, weapon ready, sliding into the dead man's position like a ghost possessing a corpse. The autocannon roared. The Scrap King fired from behind the vegetation wall near the western elevated walkway, heavy caliber rounds hammering toward Burton's position on the eastern watchtower. The Marksman handler returned fire, guided munition rounds seeking through the air, micro-thrusters making subtle trajectory corrections mid-flight. But Vasquez's patchwork armor absorbed the impacts. The ceramic plates detonated against composite plates, spider-webbing the surface, but failing to punch through. Rounds impacting armor, heavy thud, 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 thud. Burton winced. Round that clipped his shoulder plate. Not deep, not fatal, but close. Control, shift, Koster ordered. Henno moved from the southern tower to fresh crates at ground level, launcher tracking. He fired. A 40mm grenade arced toward the veterans behind the western walkway wall. Grenade explosion, deep whoomp with debris shower. Whoomp. The blast showered them with debris, but their light armor and the concrete cover held. They emerged coughing, weapons ready, unbloodied. Anika stayed low behind her crates at ground level, data systems tracking for threats, ready to overwatch. Willem held position at the base of the eastern watchtower staircase, weapon up, as his Koster's voice cut the comms. Chain activation. Assault, you're live. Janssen sprinted for the western tower, P-43 swinging with each step. Furey moved under the eastern watchtower staircase at ground level, pressing near Anika's position, and keyed his command suite. Janssen, ready up. The LMG gunner's weapons cycled, belt-fed rounds chambering, ready. The beer moved to the corner of the elevated eastern walkway, overwatching the secondary inlet, finger on the trigger. Venter vaulted the water main by the southern tower, landing in a combat role, coming up shooting. Induna Sipu's veterans burst from the drainage grate near the primary inlet, 3 fighters emerging from below, weapons tracking for Warthog 1. The Springboks' overwatch was perfect, val 32D chewing into the lead veteran, dropping him in a spray of blood and hydraulic fluid. But the survivors had disposable launchers. Rocket launcher sharp whoosh followed by explosion. Whoosh! The rocket hit Warthog 1's center mass. The AI staggered, chassis sparking, then collapsed, optics dimming, legs locking in rigor mortis position.
Burton slid right along the eastern watchtower's railing, staying low, using his command token to cycle his sniper rifle's ready state. The guided munitions system hummed, acquisition algorithms locking onto heat signatures through the vegetation. Moving. Hernandez moved. Exoframe hydraulic assisters screaming mechanical whine. The covert handler's exoframe launched him 10 meters straight up, hydraulic assisters screaming at maximum strain. He landed atop the concrete wall, crouched, carbine tracking. Burton fired. The guided round hit Hernandez's chest plate, micro thrusters adjusting at the last millisecond to compensate for his slight shift in posture. The impact knocked him back a step, ceramic composite absorbing the kinetic energy, but the armor held. The covert handler grinned, teeth white against his dark face,
and dropped behind the wall's cover. Primary inlet is open, Fury snarled. Secondary inlet contested. Push, damn you. Turn 3. Hernandez didn't wait. He leapt from the wall to the roof of the elevated eastern walkway, exoframe absorbing the impact. Burton tracked, fired, crack, but the Covert handler had already moved, juking behind the support pillar. The guided round detonated against concrete where Hernandez had been a microsecond before. Return fire hammered Burton's position, round sparking off the railing. The marksman handler pressed himself flat, armor plate catching a glancing blow. Pain flared, not critical, not yet. "Chef out," Koster shouted. Heno's launcher cycled, firing a specialized Harlow pattern disruption round, micro-drones dispersing thermal chaff and EMP particulates in a swirling cloud. It engulfed the courtyard, blinding sensors, scrambling targeting solutions. "Go!" Heno sprinted through the haze, boots pounding towards the primary inlet. He reached the crates below the high gantry, beside Warthog 1's smoking chassis, and dropped to one knee. Secured, line of sight established, the pump inlet was his. Anika stayed behind her ground-level crates, data systems tracking for threats, ready to overwatch. Willem held position at the base of the eastern watchtower staircase, weapon up. He spotted an insurgent behind the vegetation, flechette projector glinting. Both men fired simultaneously. Crack, crack, bzz, bzz. The insurgent's flechettes found flesh. Willem collapsed, blood pooling, FAL-32C clattering on concrete. "Man down!" someone screamed. The assault team activated. Jensen opened up from his crate position near the western watchtower, P-34 hammering toward the veteran by the western walkway. Tracers cut the air. The veteran returned fire, scavenged rifle barking, and Jensen's chest plate exploded outward. The LMG gunner folded, P-34 still cycling, rounds chewing skyward until the belt dried white. Fury moved forward, sliding behind the crate below the eastern watchtower at ground level, weapon ready. "Hold positions. Venter, flank." Venter sprinted around the pump control station. De Beer leaned further around the elevated walkway's corner, overwatching the secondary inlet, finger on the trigger. The Impisi repositioned, insurgents and veterans sliding through the vegetation like serpents. Vasquez's autocannon tracked for Burton again, but the shot went wide, pulverizing concrete. Warthog 2 moved. The Springbok launched from its position near the filtration tower, servo legs pistoning, chaff launcher cycling. It hit cover behind the wall near the high gantry in 3 seconds, fast enough to make a human's eyes water. No shots tracked it. Too fast, too precise. Turn 4. Burton fired at Hernandez on the elevated walkway roof. The Covert handler juked, exoframe throwing him sideways behind the pillar. The guided round detonated against concrete, micro thrusters having overcorrected when Hernandez shifted. Burton adjusted, fired again, but Hernandez was already gone, hugging cover. Vasquez's autocannon spoke again. A round caught Burton in the throat as he leaned from the railing. Armor there was thinner, a gap in the coverage. The marksman handler's head snapped back, sniper rifle tumbling from dead fingers, body falling from the eastern watchtower, crashing through the vegetation below, dead before he hit the ground. "Man down!" Fury roared. "All units, engage!" Heno tried. From his position at the primary inlet, he sighted on a veteran in CQB range, launcher tracking. But the veteran was faster, scavenged rifle barking. Heno's chest plate cracked, the round punching through, and Heno folded beside Warthog 1's corpse. Corporal Willem, still at the base of the high gantry wall, fired his frag launcher, thump, and an insurgent behind the vegetation caught the blast full on, armor shredded, body dropped. Annika moved. She sprinted to the base of the eastern watchtower staircase and started up, halfway, just enough to get a better angle. From her elevated position, she spotted a veteran below, still recovering from the grenadier exchange, his back exposed as he fumbled with a fresh magazine. She raised her FAL-32C, exhaled, and fired twice. The veteran pitched forward, dead before he hit the ground. "Assault!" Fury barked. "Push the courtyard!" The beer and Venter moved simultaneously, bounding forward at ground level, weapons hammering. They caught an insurgent in the open, flechette gun rounds versus armor-piercing 5.56. The insurgent danced, hit multiple times, and collapsed into the razor grass. But Sipo's veterans weren't done. One dashed for the primary inlet, sprinting from the drainage grate, weapon ready. Knowing Heno was dead and the position was open, the pump inlet was undefended. Warthog 2 moved from its pipe cover, FAL-32D tracking. It fired, brrrrt, and the veteran staggered, hit multiple times, but kept moving. Another insurgent emerged from below, firing wild, rounds chewing concrete. The Springbok adjusted, fired again. The insurgent dropped, but the veteran reached the primary inlet, dropped to one knee, secured. "Primary inlet is Impisi," someone shouted. Fury's jaw tightened. "Hold the secondary. Do not let them—" Turn 5. Warthog 2 moved to engage the veteran at the primary inlet. The Springbok bounded forward, FAL-32D tracking, but Hernandez had the angle. From his elevated position on the eastern walkway roof, the Covert handler's carbine barked, 3 rounds, tight grouping. The Springbok's chassis sparked, gyroscopic stabilizers failing. It staggered, tried to compensate, then collapsed, legs locking, optics fading to black. "Warthog 2 is down!" Annika screamed. The control team and assault team opened up. Annika, still halfway up the watchtower staircase, Willem, Fury himself, the Deer and Venter, they poured fire into the courtyard from their ground positions, targeting the last insurgents. The Beer's rifle barked, catching an insurgent behind the vegetation. Armor failed, body dropped. Venter's fire found another, the flechette gunner folding mid-stride. 2 insurgents down. The veterans were pulling back, regrouping. But Vasquez was moving. The Scrap King knew. Only he remained, him and Hernandez against the shattered remnants of Harlow. If he reached the primary inlet, if he secured that pump, if he poured the toxin into the settlement's water supply. The exoskeleton hydraulics screamed at maximum strain. He sprinted. The exoskeleton hydraulics screamed, patchwork armor plates rattling, autocannon discarded, too heavy, too slow. He needed speed. He needed that pump. "Stop him!" Fury roared. Annika fired from her position on the staircase, missed, round sparking off Vasquez's shoulder plate. Willem fired from the courtyard wall, missed, Vasquez juking left. De Beer's rifle barked, crack, 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 rounds hammering into Vasquez's chest armor. Ceramic plates shattered. The exoskeleton staggered. But it didn't stop.
Vasquez reached the primary inlet, dropped to his knees beside the pump. His hand found the vial, the toxin, the weapon that would turn the settlement against the UN, that would make them rise, that would show them the authority couldn't protect them from thirst, from poison, from death. He twisted the cap. Anika fired again. The round glanced off his helmet. Fury fired. The round buried itself in the exoskeleton's backplating, stopped by scavenged armor from a dead caber duster. Venter fired, missed. Vasquez poured the toxin into the inlet. For a moment, silence. Then the pump's warning lights began to blink, red, urgent, screaming. Amanda, Vasquez said quietly. Awetu. The Impisi had won.